All right, I'm here to talk about fruits of your labor. Here we go. We're going ripe. We've been enjoying the emerald apple Russian tomatoes. I got to taste the first of my Principe Borghese yesterday. They're going ripe. And we have beautiful flowering happening on the hummingbird sage and some of the turnip greens. Of course, the squash are still flowering, and the basil, the bigger basil bushes I let go to seed. But the real reason why I came to talk today is about this Black Futsu. And I had been worried because the vines were so small and took such a long time to take off. But now I'm doing some reading on this, some reviews, and I figured I'd come by and let you guys know that this will probably end up being one of my top picks for numerous reasons. I'm getting reviews that it is a heavy producer, and it even produced super heavy in cooler, wet climates. And the squash is a dense, intense flavored hazelnut, described as a hazelnut flavor. They said it's very unique. This is a rare seed. This is heirloom. It's called Black Futsu, F-U-T-S-U. And this squash is a petite squash. And when it goes ripe and it's said to be at its finest flavor, the skin will turn a rusty brown color. The best report that I heard is that people have had this store up to 8 months in perfect condition. And the problem with a lot of the long store squash pumpkins is that they're larger, and you know, it's an awful lot of squash for just 1 or 2 people to eat. But these little guys are perfect for 1 or 2 people as a side dish, or 1 person as a main course. And even though I have really hot weather and now we're drying out, it's producing good. It's not producing as heavy as what these people are saying in the cooler climates, just the cooler summers. So I would definitely, if I was going to stay put here, I would sow this indoors in midsummer and transplant it outside in fall and see what happens. But here we have one that's going ripe, and the Russians are just absolutely wonderful. Last year I was in a kind of a rush to taste them and only let them get a couple golden speckles. This summer I've let them go longer on the vine to almost entirely golden on the outside, and wow, what a flavor. But they've got a nice load on them, and the tomatoes that hadn't been staked, the Marion and some of my clones, are doing well just as they are. I haven't been using the sprinkler system. I've been going around watering at the base to try to control some of this disease. Now, I've said I don't try to control disease in tomatoes. I do with the squash and some other plants, and especially if I'm going to be on the property, I'll tear them up, just lift the plants out by the roots. But this year I'm not going to be here for very long, so I'm actually going through and clipping. I just wanted to clarify that. I have great root growth on these figs that had been bricked not too long ago. And I suspect that if I was to cut this now and put it in a pot and baby it for just a little while, I don't know if you could see this. Anyway, I pulled up some of the dirt and the bricks. They're no longer bricked. And they're just wonderful, wonderful root systems. So I'm sure I could pot those and they would be fine, just as long as they don't get too much intense sun until those root balls develop a little bit better. The Casa banana, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to be here to collect the seed. So I have one gardening neighbor down the road who walks her dog, and I very well may ask her if these plants make it through the summer without my attention to grab some of the fruit off of this front fence line and mail it to me. We'll see how that goes. But I've been busy. I'm almost totally packed, ready to go. My oldest son has some friends that are going to help me move a couple of the bigger items. And I've just been, giving stuff away and schlepping stuff off to the landfill. But we've got really, really beautiful, beautiful growth happening everywhere. The patch back here of the ground cherries is taking off. And I did the crookneck, yellow crookneck squash seed collection yesterday. The squash are like a cadmium yellow-orange color, very, very bright and bumpy like a gourd. And they'll sit on the counter for 2 to 3 weeks before I collect the seed, rinse them in cool water, plate them to dry. But these ground cherries are doing really, really well here. They have a lot of fruit on them, even though they're not as big as the ones out back. And I did say I was going to plant the flax here, and I did. I probably won't get a chance to collect the seed from that. No matter where I put the perilla, it's doing well, but it is substantially larger when it's right next to a sprinkler head. It really does like that extra water. And the chufa in both spots is doing well. The strawberry spinach took a hit. It's very shallow rooted. The sun is extremely intense in this spot all throughout the day. There's no reprieve, and we got some burning up, but here the berry heads, the little seed heads are starting. It's supposed to have, a tiny little red berry. You could eat the leaves and the berries. And same thing with the strawberries. They're kind of shallow rooted, and we're getting some, they're burning up. The heat is really intense, and with that rain, that was it. I mean, we got that like week and a half of torrential downpour, and now it's back to dry. But you could see we got some disease spreading on the Alibaba. But great development on the fruits. So before I leave, I'm going to come in. I only have a few more days here. I'm going to come in and take those out. Michael will be here for a couple months, and the neighbor has actually volunteered to come over and keep things watered for me. Because during July, I'm actually going to be in and out of the state, and I might swing past here and see if there's anything I could get as far as seeds or produce to take with me down into Miami. I'll be hopping around Florida. I'm going to go see some friends. I'm going to go see some family. And then I'll settle in Florida for the winter. I'm not quite sure how that's going to go. I'm only going to take some drawing supplies, tiny little bit of paint supplies, in case I have to do a touch-up on the masks. I'm going to do a show or two while I'm there. But as far as not having gardening to do and critters and kids to take care of, I'm going to have a lot of free time. I'm going to spend some time in the books and on field trips and go see Green Deane. I'm going to try to spend some time with him a couple more times. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be an adventure. I'm also thinking about maybe trying to get a job on a boat. I've been out on a boat a couple times, deep sea fishing off of Tahiti and Southern California when I lived out there. The motion sickness doesn't really affect me all that much. This is a smaller specimen, but you know, that ripening process is taking place on the Black Hopi. So I'm definitely going to be able to get some seed specimens from that before I leave. And what I'm really hoping for are these cantaloupe. This is a French name. I'm not going to butcher it. It's in one of the write-ups in previous garden updates. And by far, this is one of my favorite cantaloupes. I don't see too many fruit, and from what I read, cantaloupes are known for dropping an awful lot of their flowers and tiny little fruit from the female flowers. But I see 3. That's nowhere near enough plants or fruit for a good seed stock, but it's a start. I might be able to do some stuff in pots. In Florida, the Oswald and the Casa Banana back here still really, really slow growing. Lots of Hopis everywhere, and the lemon apple and Black Beauty zucchini, along with the volunteer arugula, is doing extremely well here. And Shalou, that's very tough. That's doing well. And I've got my tassels and some bee helpers on the Bloody Butcher corn. I hear Bella Bear moving around in there. She's digging. Hey, Belle. Borage in prolific bloom. Smaller ground cherries up here. And the Alibaba, the second sowing, is very happy here. Lots of sprawl going on and lots of blooms happening. This will probably be a fine producing watermelon patch. And there's the perilla back here next to the sprinkler head. Easily twice the size of the other perilla. Here's more of the Black Futsu squash. They are, I've read they are compact plants, so there we go. And the ground cherries and the yellow squash back here. Producing. Oh, we have ground cherries already falling. Beautiful. That makes me happy. These are wonderful, tasty little critters. Guys, you've got to grow this. Healthy, long-lived, tough, heavy producers. Great flavor. Come in their own neat little packages. So when you peel that back, you don't even have to worry about having to rinse it. I have to get in here and take care of this. This is going wild. That is a lemon apple next to the golden Marconis and the dragon tongue beans. Lemon balm in the back with the horseradish. Everybody's happy. And the Egyptian walking onions, I haven't seen, for my friend who wants some of these, I've seen them fall over. I haven't seen any take root. But if I'm leaving here before I see any with roots on, I'll put it on a damp paper towel, bag it up in a Ziploc, and we'll try it. I'll ship it out to you and see how it does. All right, well, that's the garden update. The perpetual spinach, chard, is doing okay there. Nope, I'm off and running. Gonna gather up the last of my belongings, get it in a storage unit, and over at my former husband's house, and then I'm on the road. And so looking forward to seeing my family. It's been 5 years. So I'll post a video here and there to let you guys know that I'm happy, healthy, and enjoying my time. All right, arrivederci.